Hello and welcome to another modelling video. This is Alan from the Makona Man at YouTube with another model video. Today we're going to be reviewing, building and finishing the Hipheavy, a heavy biplane bomber from the Gundam anime Turn A Gundam. Probably one of the most obscure and strangest bits of equipment and character models you'd come across in the franchise, exclusively made for an event such as C3 or Wonder Festival, has been recreated and recast as a garage kit, this one being found on Aliexpress. To cover a few issues and topics that's new to this channel and video, recast is in most of the time unauthorized copy of a model that's seen a limited or unofficial run. We will not get into the politics of this, though model videos are definitely covered. AliExpress is a largish, almost Amazon, eBay-like site that's mostly based in China and has a plethora of different access to products and manufacturers. Very exciting stomping grounds to source for all sorts of hobby goods. And the subject matter of this aircraft in general is so obscure. Being a fan of the anime, I have no memory of this particular bomber or can even imagine the full size one. There is a reference picture found at the very start of this video, though finding any information was very difficult. This is an SD model or super deformed, and it doesn't show the accurate representation of what this aircraft did appear to be in the anime, and I'm a bit too lazy to revisit it. I'll be finishing it as per what the artist shows in their reference. The goals of this video, besides creating more garage kit content, which there'll never be enough of on the greater internet and YouTube, is to review a resin model coming from AliExpress and the Chinese recasters in quite a bit of detail, and sharing this model and subject matter that just does not exist in the English speaking or written side of the internet. Googling it will only eventually come to the wiki page, the sale of the item itself, and hopefully eventually this video. As vast as the internet is, with the plethora and tonnage of content uploaded hourly, daily, there'll always be lost content and items never accurately procured and documented, which is a responsibility for us toy collectors, modelers, and people with very interesting and rare subject matter or knowledge. AliExpress is not native to English, and using the search function is a bit clunky, and items that you're actually looking for does not turn up in great detail. Unlike other search engines, you have to look for general terms and just go through more than 2 pages to dozens of pages and sellers till you find something really ideal or interesting to buy. Another thing is it doesn't really deal with online currency traders such as PayPal and whatnot. You'll have to use your bank details, though I find the customer service and any sort of appeal process is very easy to handle. It pretty much collects a ton of information on shipping, tracking, evidence from both parties, and from my understanding, with a human accurately and fairly decides any judgments or actions that is in its very well written rules and policies. The start of the video showcases the listing and the information of their finished painted photos. The seller gives you a few options on how to package it, and after paying a very subtle amount, not going for a more expensive or complicated garage kit, I waited for a few weeks and it arrived at the post office with minimal issues, multiple boxed and very well packaged, all items thoroughly protected in bubble wrap and appropriately sorted. Each part was very well and sharply casted to my surprise, with no bubbles, showcasing some form of injection molding under pressure. It was beautiful to clean up, remove the sprues, and deal with any fitting or gluing together issues. There was very minimal putty work, though quite a bit of sprue and removal through sanding and rescribing. Remember to wear a mask or at least do some wet sanding. Each part was soaked and washed thoroughly in dishwashing detergent, warm water, and soaked overnight, thoroughly wiped down and dried the next day, with all surfaces being very gently sanded down with high grit sandpaper and sponges to rough up the very smooth surface to attach to primer. I have to admit, With the tiny chibi pilot figures, I'm very impressed with the detail, the casting, and all the overhang detail that was not damaged or distorted in any way, which cleaned up through the multiple sprues quite nicely with detail deep enough to procure from hand painting. An addition of a clear part depicting the rotary blades spinning was included with a minor sprue. The resin was fault-free and snug fit. Considering the complexity of the little figures, the entirety of the fuselage, the detail being engraved, and the thickest part hollow with very strange vents and supports, my suspicion with very fine artifacts looking quite close, the original prototype would have been 3D printed with a very expensive or high-end prototyping machine, opposed to the SLA 3D printers we're experiencing under $1,000, maybe a laser synthesizing one around the 100 grand level. These are very frequent in Japan, and it's the norm now for many more mechanical models to be 3D drafted or sculpted and then printed to be mass produced in small studio resin caster or in-house for being dispatched at these hobby events for resale. All components had a near snap fit connection, yet would not hold together like a Bandai kit. All components were glued and adhered together utilizing super glue. A little putty was touched up here and there. What you see is pretty much what you get out of the box. In addition to this model, it's not very well displayed. A few small parts such as bombs and whatnot glued underneath. It doesn't stand on its own as the landing gear is displayed retracted up, depicting a flying model. This was easily fixed by using a half clear bauble, painting it up, putting a skewer in, drilling a hole with a pin vise and mounting it upon it. There are other display ways of showcasing the model with the original artwork. I wanted a bit of a globe like it's flying around the world and playing more in its SD chibi aesthetic. Ocean was depicted by reverse candy with a clear blue then silver underneath, PVA glue on top and flock put on to depict earth or plant life. Overall, that is a rundown of the build, unboxing, construction aspect. There is not a lot. Clearing up the nubs, assembling, gluing, a few hours work in a single day to achieve. The majority of the artwork and brilliance of this model is painting it and making it look like as per the reference material. During the casting process, resin garage kits start off as a liquid resin mix and poured in a mold. For the resin not to stick to the silicon mold and destroying it to get multiple copies, the mold is covered in a silica or lubricant like substance that sticks to the material and is sold. Some higher end manufacturers will clean this off, but paint will not stick to this no matter what, causing fisheye or other issues, which I've experienced before. So the reason why we wash and sand the pieces for greater adhesion. Testing Zurich paints and primers from the Philippines for the first time on the surface of a model I've never worked with for the first time was very risky yet exciting. The detail popped beautifully, it was very smooth, and most importantly, Zurich really etched and bit into the resin without issue, allowing me to do all sorts of things from polishing, hand painting, all the way to masking and not lifting up any paint. I did my usual method of applying multiple coats of a single color to build up tone and shading, masking an area off and painting other surfaces, especially yellow being very hard with low pigment density. The figures were hand painted with multiple military colors from Mr. Color, and the entire finish was given a black sludge wash from Tamir Accents panel line color. With the amount of masking, this process took quite a few days. Once all the weathering and washes dried up and cured, a final coat of matte clear by Guy Notes was applied for that dead matte look, and we're finished with the model. And wow, I can't comprehend how much fun I had with this build. It was an absolute blast playing, looking at it, and a refreshment from other projects and models I've been working on. Kits from Aliexpress, and definitely recommend it. Not sure with this one, depending if you like the subject matter. Lots of hand painting, but it was completely up my alley in being very obscure and just fun and cool to look at for sure. From start to finish, the whole project concluded in 7 days, one sitting, nothing else on my plate, and I'm absolutely happy with what I've achieved and how I've finished it all. Thank you very much for watching, and as always, until next time, stay tuned for further content. Happy to answer any questions. Have a look at my description section down below for reference materials and my social media, especially events and other works. We'll catch you guys next time. See you later.